Hey everyone, this is Christina D, aka Shorter Than the Easel, with my first back to school video. And this time we are going summer reading themed and doing something based on a book, but to stick with true summer reading fashion, it was inspired by the movie. So I'm doing something that sounded like a prompt that a teacher would give, and I decided I'm gonna do my own Dorian Gray painting. Like, make my own personal painting how I think my portrait would look. And in true style, starting with the regular portrait, we're doing this 2 paintings in 1 video. Granted, a lot was not recorded to save time, but I thought this would be fun. And you know what? It actually was, and this is the first self-portrait that's actually turned out really well, because I do not do well with self-portraits. And I will admit that I traced my reference, which is actually 2 poorly photoshopped together photos I took with the pose based off of my, what I like to call my art twin, which, if you saw my previous vlog, you know what I'm talking about. And that was found via Google Arts and Culture months ago, where it compared me to Rose and Gold, Little Lady Sophie of Soho, and it pretty much is my face, and it's terrifying. Even though that wasn't the first option, it said, like, I think it was 55% match. That's my face. So I used that for the pose inspiration. I used references for the clothes and tweaked them to work, because clearly a t-shirt isn't gonna look nice. I wanted something that looked a little more formal. And I liked the way my face was facing. Well, amusing, right? I'm just recording this late at night. This is my second time doing this, but we're powering through. But I liked the way my face was facing in one, and I liked the way the hands were placed in another, so I decided, you know what? This is digital art. It's a digital medium. We're gonna edit it together, and then trace over it, A, to save time, and B, because I suck at self-portraits. I love doing portrait work. I should probably do more on this channel. But I suck at self-portraits. So, out of my own laziness and to save time recording, I pre-sketched it, traced over, to do everything else by hand. Well, as by hand as digital art can get, because technically, I mean, it's by hand technically, because you're still holding the pen and doing the work. But you know what I mean. It's not like, okay, we're just copying, pasting, there you go. It's like, that's not how digital art works. How it works. I can't speak. So, while we get through the first portrait, I figure, since this is back to school themed, let's talk about some art school stories of mine. And I'm gonna be honest, I love art. Art was my favorite subject in school. Not because it was easy. Art is very hard. It seems like an easy thing. It's not. It requires patience and practice. People act like it doesn't, but it does. But my art teachers from middle school on, and even elementary school, because one of my elementary school teachers ended up being one of my teachers in middle school too, because she moved into that one, but they were some of the most inspirational people and the most supportive people I have ever met, and I gotta give them major props. And I probably would not have continued doing art or even looking forward to school if it wasn't for them, because especially in middle school, that was a really tough time for me. So, to all of my old art teachers, if you're watching these, watching these, watching this. If you're watching this, thank you very much. You inspired me so much. And especially to the ones that suggested the middle school for the arts program, which also taught me a lot. It taught me how to stress my own canvases. It taught me a lot of the basics too, because let's admit, with every class, each year kind of just feels like the same lesson, just with a few things tacked on no matter what subject you're in. But with art, it's fun. Art is a more hands-on subject, and I like that. It's one of those things where it's just like, it's also very de-stressing. Like, you feel like you're getting a chance to just relax, even if you're drawing a still life. It's just one of those things where it's like, it teaches you observational stuff. It teaches you how to look at details, how to take everything in, and not just focus on one little thing. It's like, it teaches you how to see the whole picture. And without those art teachers that I had, I probably would not have completely gone into art. I probably would have gone for like an English major or something. And at one point I did actually kind of go into an English major, but that's because completely different story. 18 credit hours was ridiculous. College, that's a story for another time. But, you know, I give all of my respect and love to all of my old art teachers, including my after-school art teachers, because I did do an after-school class and some summer programs too, even though the summer program was technically related to the middle school arts thing, but that was something I kept going even into high school. So, yeah. But aside from that, one of my favorite stories, or one of my favorite experiences from school, especially in art class, was probably getting to... Actually, you know what? There are multiple. And it's all from the same teacher who follows me on Instagram, and I follow them. They are amazing. One was getting to paint on the walls, because we each got our own individual bricks to paint on. That was fun. And the other was just... It wasn't even really art related necessarily, but I remember one day in class, my teacher gathered us all around the computer in the classroom and showed us the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny. This was back, like, probably right before YouTube started. So this was on Lemon Demon's old website, and we watched it, and I loved it. It was like the best thing ever. And it's still one of my favorites too. But there were so many things about that class that just inspired even how I work on art today, and even just how I work in general on things today. Like, they used to play these two different playlists, which inspired a playlist that I actually listen to now every now and then when I work. And it was so much fun. It was such a fun environment. It's like, it was one of the few classes I didn't dread going into. So, yeah, that was one of my art school experiences. Especially as we're coming up on the end of the first half of this video, where you get to see the reveal of my personal portrait, which I think I might actually get a print of, because this actually looks really, really cool. And actually I might get a print of both. I really, really wish I could do one of those, like, lenticular pictures, you know, like the shifting ones, like the appropriate for this video creepy changing portraits that you see in Halloween stores, because that's what we're working on next. Because now we go into my favorite part, the actual Dorian Gray portrait itself. Which is part of why I think the first one turned out so well, because I knew I would get a chance to mess it up. Like, purposely mess it up. So, the thing that inspired me to do this, again, was the movie for Dorian Gray. Like, this was the 2009 movie I'm talking about. And it got me thinking, what would my portrait look like? And granted, as much as I wanted to go full zombie, A, I want this to be relatively family friendly because YouTube, and B, I really haven't done that much that would completely screw up my portrait. Like, I hate to say I'm not that bad, but I'm really not that bad. But one of the things that made me really want to do this when I was thinking about what my portrait would look like were the eyes. Now, I'll talk about that more when we get to the eyes, but I started pretty much with the basics. Pretty much sinking in the eyes, just really making the face a bit more skeletal. Adding grays to the hair, making it more messy. Giving myself more of a hunch because I do actually have a really bad back. I will be completely honest with that. Probably from years of hunching over a desk and writing and drawing. And just not really knowing how to take care of myself like that because no one really teaches you how to take care of your body properly. So there's the basics like that. You'll see me red up my hands and my face because I do also turn very red every now and then. I turn red when I overwork myself, and my hands chap. It's just part of who I am because I have anxiety. And I don't mean like a little stress, I mean like I legit have anxiety. And here's the part I was talking about with the eyes. This is the modern age, the digital era, which is why I'm doing this digitally, because I think a modern take on the story would be interesting. Imagine the file being completely corrupted. But one thing that is common nowadays is leaks. Like leaked scenes, leaked movies, bootlegs of musicals on YouTube under ridiculous title names, which are hilarious to see. And it's like, I need to glitch out the eyes. I need to do this. Because I'll admit, in my teens, I watched leaks. I watched bootleg musicals because I couldn't see them or because they were shots of the original cast from like 2000 whatever, or because the musical has been off Broadway for the longest time. And I thought glitching out the eyes is the main thing I want to do. Like, if nothing else comes from this, I want to at least have that in here. And this was also my first time doing a glitch effect. So what you saw was me pretty much winging it. But also right here, you see me redding up the skin, making my hands super red, and drawing in cracks because, like I said, my hands chap. And actually, in college, my anxiety got so bad that it took months for my hands to fully heal. The whole back of my hands were completely cracked. They were so red, it was bad. So, considering the fact that in the story, injuries and stuff like that transfer to the painting, I figured, you know what, let's get some of my personal stuff in there. So, getting the chapped hands and the red skin and the acne, getting that in there, including the gray hair, not just to be like, oh yeah, I'm making you look all creepy and old. It's just like, I wanted it to sort of be like a very light embodiment of my anxiety. And I don't know if I don't remember if I've already shown this on here, but at one point you see me going into the highlights on the face. That was to make it pop. Because everything was seeming so dark, and I started lightening things up. And again, like with the first portrait, I did a lot of work off recording, mostly to save time. But with those cracks, like the one that was just on screen, I worked those into the paint because, like I said, I wanted to, as much as I wanted to go full zombie on this, I couldn't. A, because my portrait really wouldn't be that bad, and B, because YouTube. And I want to keep it safe. So it's just like, okay. I need to wear myself down in the painting, but how else can I do this? So I was like, you know what? A really cool idea would be, A, adding a digital version of varnish. So I like to call it the varnish layer, which you will see in a later clip. Which was like a layer of green. And I think I either overlaid or... Yeah, I think it was overlay, not multiply. I think multiply was too dark. But I wanted to give it kind of like that older tone. And one thing I love about old oil paintings is that they have that like really colored varnish from years of just wear. And like one of my latest things to do that I find so relaxing is watching restoration videos, and just watching them clean off the varnish is so satisfying. So I thought, what better thing to add to the painting than varnish? And I have a ton of grunge-styled brushes that I could use that I added a different layer on to add texture to it, and I turned those splits in the painting from rotating it into tears in the painting because I thought that would look cool. And like, if anything, mentally and emotionally, I'm more worn down. Most of my pain and struggle is more of an internal thing because I do have anxiety. It's something that I'm still learning to deal with, but I deal with better. It's like I have more of an idea of how to deal with it. So it's like, if anything, the painting as a whole should have more distress, but not necessarily myself in the painting. So that's what I did. I distressed it. I added that grunge texture. I added the tears. I added the varnish layer. And I love how it turned out. And I thank you guys so much for the support you guys have given me, and I hope you stick around for the ride. And if you guys want to do this too, link me to it. What would your Dorian Gray painting look like? And with that, I guess that's all I gotta say. So I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Or whatever that is, because I've been focused on this one for like the past month.